Good morning, everybody. Let's go over the results from yesterday, June 9th, 2026. We've got some primaries in 4 states. Still results coming in, but let's get right into South Carolina. This is for governor for the Republicans. It is headed to a runoff on June 23rd. The top two finishers are the Trump-endorsed Lieutenant Governor Pamela Yvette. She got 28.9, and Attorney General Alan Wilson, who's at 26.1. So not convincing numbers at all. Plus, you've got Nancy Mace down there at just 12%. So this is an open seat. The winner is going to go on to face the Democrat Jermaine Johnson. He advanced without the runoff. Now, if you're wondering who might be favored in that GOP primary, here's the latest on the markets. Pamela Yvette is favored 75 to 25 for Wilson. The Trump endorsement helped Yvette, but not nearly as much as it might have if he did it a little bit earlier. So we're finally starting to get some answers in this very crowded primary. Other big races, we've got the U.S. Senate. Here's Lindsey Graham. He did fend off a challenger, Mark Lynch. He won with about 56.8%. Lynch is at 29, so Graham is going to move on to November, and he's going to face Democrat Annie Andrews. She also moved on with over 61%. It's a pretty uphill climb for the Dems in this race. There's a chance they make it competitive, but it would take a massive blue wave, and Graham faltering big time for this to be able to flip. Here's some other statewide races we've got. One of them is headed to a runoff. Again, Republicans are going to be favored in all of them. You could pause it if you'd like. We're not going to go over each of them. But up here, we've got the U.S. House results. Republicans have 6 of these districts. Dems have one of them. That's the Clyburn district. They did not redraw their map, so Clyburn going to be safe. The other one's reasonably red, but not all totally guaranteed in a blue wave. One we're going to take a look at is the first. This is the seat held by Nancy Mace, who retired to run for governor. So this is headed to a runoff between Mark Smith and Jenny Honeycutt. You can see these percentages here are pretty low, just 22% for the top. 5 candidates at about 11% or more. So again, that runoff is going to be on the 23rd, and the winner is also going to face one of these two Democrats headed to a runoff as well. It's Nancy LaCour and Mac DeFord. They're both going to duke it out. Either one of them would be a clear underdog against the Republican. Last time Nancy Mace won by more than 15%. So in a big blue wave, there's a remote but not impossible chance Dems could put this seat in play. Now let's move on to Maine, where we've got a big U.S. Senate race, although not so much in the primary. For the Dems, it's official. Graham Plattner is the nominee. Still vote coming in, but he cleared 70%. Janet Mills, who's still on the ballot, is under 20. So even in the population-heavy Portland, Plattner at 77 there. Up in the northern part of the 2nd District, Plattner doing a little bit worse, but of course it varies from place to place. So he's been in the news a ton. He's got a lot of baggage. He is going to go on and face Susan Collins, the Republican, who's unopposed. It's going to be one of the biggest races out there. Collins is going to need some independents, a few Democrats, as well as most of the Republican base to come out for her in the fall. She's defied the polling in the past. We'll see if she could do it again. Now here's a more exciting primary race. We've got governor. And for the Dems, we've got another huge battle. We've got 4 candidates over 20%. The leader right now is Nirav Shah. He's under 27. Hannah Pingree is over 23. Troy Jackson, 21. And Shanna Bellows, 21 as well. Now, there is ranked choice voting in this state, and because nobody got to 50%, it's going to head to that instant runoff. That means after any write-ins, the first one to be eliminated is going to be Angus King. Then they'll look and see who King voters put as their second choice. Then they'll reallocate those votes into the other candidates until somebody gets over 50%. Now, this is an open seat. Whoever wins this is going to go on to face a Republican that's also headed to a runoff, but the leader right now is Bobby Charles, 37.5%. So their ranked choice vote is going to kick in as well. Also take note here, we've got a Bush on the ballot, Jonathan Jay. He pulled in about 1/5 of the vote. So some crowded races here. But if you want to take a look at the market to see what might happen in that complicated Dem primary, here's Polymarket. Hannah Pingree is favored to be the eventual winner. She's at 75%. Shaw is at 20. Bellows and Jackson way down in single digits. And you can see this race over the months has really changed hands a lot of times. A lot of different candidates held the lead at one time or another, even if we go back to just the past day. Look at this. Once the ballots started coming in, Shaw was in first, then he sank, then Jackson was on top. Now it's Pingree. And Pingree is the daughter of U.S. Rep in the 1st District, Shelley Pingree. But in November, the Dems are likely to win this seat, although it's not a total guarantee. We've got one outstanding U.S. House race. In the 2nd District, it's an open seat because Jared Golan is retiring. And we've got another family connection here, Joe Baldacci. He's the brother of former Governor John Baldacci. He's the more establishment pick, but there is going to be a ranked choice runoff here. Jordan Wood, Matthew Dunlap, right behind at 29% to Baldacci's 31.5%. But again, still some vote to count here. The winner there is going to face Paul LePage, former governor. And this district clearly voted for Trump for president, but Golden, the moderate Democrat, held on narrowly. Now Paul LePage gives the Republicans a good chance to flip this seat, one of the few pickup opportunities for the GOP prior to redistricting. Let's head on to Nevada next. Here's the seat for governor. Attorney General Aaron Ford is the winner. No surprise, he's at about 64%. In Clark County, he's at about 66. He's going to face incumbent Republican Joe Lombardo, who got about 91%. This is going to be a big battle. It's a purple state. Lombardo vulnerable due to the environment, but he could absolutely hold on. Lombardo knocked out an incumbent Democrat of his own in 22. Dems looking to return the favor. We'll see what happens. After that, we've got a few more statewide races here. Again, I'm not going to go over all this. Apparently, no results are even in this race, but feel free to pause it if you'd like. Also, remember, Nevada has none of these candidates as an option for voting. Always nice to see that. And we've got the U.S. House, the legislature, and a few other statewide races here. The one U.S. House race we're going to take a look at is the 2nd District. This is an open seat. Mark Amodei is retiring. This is the one Republican district in the state. David Flippo is Trump endorsed. He's in the lead with 45.7. That's more than 10% higher than James Settlemyre, who was endorsed by Governor Lombardo. We take a look at the map. In Washoe County, Flippo is at 50%. In November, the winner there is going to face Teresa Benitez Thompson. Dems don't really have much of a chance at flipping this pretty red district. So that's what we've got in the Silver State. Finally, we've got North Dakota. There's minimal action here because there's no Senate race and no governor's race, but there's one U.S. House district. It's going to be a rematch here. Republicans have Julie Fedorchak. She got 73%. She's going to face Trygve Hammer in November. There was also a ballot measure here. 66% say yes. They want to require future constitutional amendments to address only one subject. I'm surprised yes didn't even get a higher percent. And finally, the rest of the statewide races here. Most of these uncontested. Not much to see here. Pretty red state. Republicans very likely to win almost every race unless something crazy happens in the end. It's always possible something under the radar ends up happening. But for now, that's a recap of the primaries from yesterday, June 9th, 2026. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about any of these results? What about that runoff for South Carolina governor? How about the runoffs in Maine? Which races jump out to you in the primary? What about in November? Let me know what you're thinking down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.